In the bustling streets of New York City, where the sound of honking cars and chatter filled the air, there lived a man named Ethan. He was once a prodigy, a violinist who played in the grandest concert halls and left audiences in awe. But that was years ago. Life had taken a cruel turn. After losing his wife in a car accident and sinking into depression, Ethan stopped playing. The violin that once sang in his hands now sat untouched in a dusty case. To make ends meet, he worked as a janitor at a music academy, sweeping floors where he had once performed. Each evening, after finishing his work, Ethan would sit on a bench in Central Park, watching street performers entertain crowds. His fingers often twitched, as if yearning for the strings of his violin. But he had convinced himself that his time had passed. One rainy night, as Ethan trudged home, he saw a young girl sitting under a tree, shivering. Her clothes were worn, and she clutched a battered violin. She was trying to play, but the notes came out uneven and harsh. Curious, Ethan approached her. "What are you doing out here in the rain?" he asked. The girl looked up, startled. I need to practice," she stammered. "I have a competition tomorrow, and if I win, I'll get a scholarship to the music academy." Ethan noticed the desperation in her voice. "You're dedicated," he said gently. "But playing in the rain won't help." The girl shrugged. "I don't have anywhere else to go. My mom works late and the neighbors don't like the noise." Ethan hesitated. He hadn't touched a violin in years, but something about the girl's determination moved him. "Come with me," he said. He led her to his small apartment, where he handed her a towel and made her a cup of tea. Then, he took out his old violin case. When he opened it, the girl's eyes widened. "Wow," she whispered. "Is that yours?" Ethan nodded. "It was, a long time ago. Can you play something?" she asked eagerly. Ethan hesitated, but her enthusiasm was infectious. Slowly, he lifted the violin, his fingers trembling as they touched the strings. He closed his eyes and began to play. The music flowed effortlessly, filling the room with a melody so haunting and beautiful that it brought tears to the girl's eyes. When he finished, the girl clapped, her face glowing. "That was incredible, you have to teach me." Ethan chuckled, a sound he hadn't heard from himself in years. "All right," he said, "but you have to promise to work hard." Over the next few weeks, Ethan taught the girl everything he knew. Her progress was astonishing, and she soaked up his lessons like a sponge. In teaching her, Ethan rediscovered his own passion for music. On the day of the competition, Ethan sat in the audience, his heart pounding as the girl walked onto the stage. She looked nervous, but when she glanced at him, he gave her a reassuring nod. She began to play, and the room fell silent. Her performance was flawless, filled with emotion and precision. When she finished, the audience erupted in applause. The girl won the competition, securing her scholarship. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she ran to Ethan and hugged him. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said. But the story didn't end there. The girl's performance caught the attention of a famous music producer who was in the audience. He approached her after the event and asked, "Who taught you to play like that?" The girl pointed to Ethan, who was standing quietly at the back of the room. The producer walked over to him. "You're the real talent here," he said. "I've heard about you, Ethan Harris, the violinist who vanished. The world needs to hear you again." Ethan shook his head. "I'm just a janitor now." The producer smiled. "You're much more than that. Don't waste the gift you have." Encouraged by the girl and the producer, Ethan decided to perform again. His first concert in years was held in a packed hall, with the girl as his special guest. Together, they played a duet that brought the audience to its feet. Ethan's comeback inspired countless people, proving that it's never too late to reclaim your passion. The girl went on to become a renowned violinist, often crediting her success to the man who believed in her when no one else did. As for Ethan, he no longer saw himself as a man whose time had passed. He had found his music again, and with it, his purpose.